In section 2.1, we're going to talk about functions. So what is a function? A function from x into y is a rule or relation that associates with each input value x in capital X with a unique output value y in capital Y. Another way to think about this is each x value cannot go to more than one y value. We call the set capital X the domain of the function, and we call the set capital Y the range of the function. So the domain is what you put into the function, the range is what comes out of the function. Some ways that we can think about this pictorially is if we look at 10, 12, and 14 here in the homework on page 53. So they've got a set of domain, a set of range. The first one there, you'll notice each of the domain values is going to a unique, or is going to a range value. So -1 is going to 5, -2 is going to 7, -3 is going to 9. So that is an example of a function. Now, number 12, you'll notice 8 is going to 0, 10 is going to 3, but 9 is going to two different values, 1 and 2. So that tells you that one's not a function. And 14, we got -2 going to 6, -1 going to 6, 0 going to 6, 1 going to 6. They're all, the domain values are only going to one value. It just happens to be the same one. So that is a function. That's what's called a constant function. If we graph that, if you think about creating ordered pairs, -2, 6, -1, 6, 0, 6, or 1, 6, those would be along a horizontal line. If we go back to 12, if we graph those points, in particular the 9, 1 and 9, 2, those points are going to fall on the vertical line. So what we can do is make use of the vertical line test, which says that if any vertical line crosses a graph at more than one point, the graph is not a function. Another way to think about that is if any vertical line does not cross a graph at more than one point, then the graph is a function. So that's another way we can look at the vertical line test. Now, functional notation, we'll write it something like the following. F of x equals x squared minus 2x. So our x is going to be what's called the independent variable. The f of x would be the dependent variable. It's also the same thing as y. So if we wanted to graph functions, what we could do is plug in different x values, and then what we get back from the output of the f of x is going to be our y value for the y coordinate. So if we wanted to evaluate f of 3 for x squared minus 2x, we're going to plug a 3 in wherever we have an x. So we'll have 3 squared minus a 2 times 3, and we'll end up with 9 minus 2 times 3, which is 9 minus 6, which is equal to 3. Similarly, if we want to do f of -2, plug in -2 wherever you have an x. You got to be careful when you have a negative, because you want to think about this as -2 squared. So it's -2 times -2, and then -2 times -2. So -2 squared is going to be positive 4. -2 times -2 would also be positive 4. So we'll end up with 8 for that one. Now, where you run into other problems is if you have an expression you're plugging in. So we've got f of a plus b. Works the same way. We're going to put in the a plus b wherever we have an x. So we're going to do x squared. We'll do a plus b squared. For the minus 2x, we'll do minus 2 times ab. The thing you have to be careful of is over here in the red, when you've got a plus b squared, that quantity squared, FOIL that out. That's the same thing as a plus b times a plus b. And so when you do the first, you get a times a, which is a squared. When you do the outer, you get a times b. You do the inner, you get a times b. So that gives you 2ab. And then b times b would give you b squared. So you don't forget this middle term, that 2ab. So when we multiply over here, we're going to get a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Distribute the minus 2 through, we'll get minus 2a minus 2b, and there's no like terms that we can combine there, so that would be it for that. F of -x works kind of like the -2, except for we're working with an x value here. We'll do -x squared, which is going to be positive x squared. Minus 2 times minus x will be plus 2x. And then if we want the negative of f of x, we'll do negative of the quantity x squared minus 2x. So we'll distribute the minus 3, we'll get minus x squared plus 2x. You can think about the minus as like a minus 1. Now, if we have f of x equals x squared minus 2x, continuing, if we want to do x plus 3, works the same way. F of x plus 3, we'll do x plus 3 squared minus 2 times x plus 3. We have to FOIL the x plus 3 times x plus 3. So up here in the red, I've got that worked out. So FOILing out, you get x squared plus 6x plus 9. So that would be what that is. Minus 2 multiplied by the x plus 3 is going to give us minus 2x minus 6. And so now combining like terms, we'll get x squared. 6x minus 2x is going to be 4x. 9 and minus 6 is going to be plus 3. So we'll end up with x squared plus 4x plus 3. One of the reasons we go back and look at this chapter is to think about the difference quotient. The difference quotient is what you get when you do f of x plus h minus f of x over h. So f of x plus h is going to be kind of like we did with the f of x plus 3. We're going to plug in x plus h where we ever we have an x up in the f of x. So we'll get x plus h squared minus 2 times x plus h. So that's the f of x plus h. We're going to subtract off f of x, which is just x squared minus 2x. And then we're going to divide all that by h. Now, the book is going to talk about doing this as a 3-step process where what they'll do is they'll do f of x plus h. Then you'll do f of x plus h minus f of x, and then you'll do the f of x plus h minus f of x over h. Now, we will talk about it in upcoming sections why we want to cover this, and we'll see that. Now, multiplying everything out, x plus h squared, we're going to do it just like we did the x plus 3 squared or the a plus b squared that we had earlier. So we will do x squared, x times h, 2 of those, we'll get 2xh, and then we'll have plus h squared. So think about x plus h times x plus h is going to give us that. Then we'll have minus 2x minus 2h minus x squared plus 2x. All that is over h. Our x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus 2x minus 2h, that's the f of x plus h part. X minus x squared plus 2x, that's the minus f of x part. Now, if you've done everything correctly when you're working a quadratic like this, you will see terms cancel. The x squareds will cancel, the 2x's will cancel. And you'll notice what you have left is 2xh plus h squared minus 2h. All of those have an h in common, which we can pull out. And then the h's are going to cancel. And we'll end up with 2x plus h minus 2, provided that h is not 0 because h was in the denominator. Now, like I said, we'll talk more about that as we move forward. That's kind of the tricky part about this. There are other difference quotients you can work with in the sense of functions. We could work with square root functions. We could work with rational functions where you got stuff in the denominator. Those do involve some other techniques that you have to do algebraically. So we're going to stick with the quadratic ones just to make it a little bit more doable. After we've talked about how to work with functions in terms of evaluating, we can talk about finding the domain. When you're working with the domains right now, the things you want to watch out for are making sure that you don't have 0 in the denominator and then trying to do an even radical of a negative value. So first off, if we want to find the domain of g of x equals x over x minus 1, obviously the x minus 1, the denominator, we can't be 0. So set that so that it's not equal to 0, or set it equal to 0 and figure out what that value is going to be. I did the not equal to. Add a 1 to both sides, and so that tells you that x can't be 1. Now, there's different ways you can write it. This is going to be all real numbers except 1. In interval notation, you would write negative infinity, parentheses, negative infinity, comma 1, close parentheses. The u is the union symbol, and then parentheses 1 comma infinity. Graphically, you would draw a number line, you would put an open circle at 1, and then you'd shade to the left and right of that. Now, r of x equals x minus 1 over x squared minus 4. Once again, x squared minus 4, the denominator can't be 0. So set that equal to 0 or set it not equal to 0, however you want to think about it. Factor the x squared minus 4 into x minus 2 times x plus 2. So remember how to factor. You may have to review that. So set each of these so they're not equal to 0. X minus 2 can't be 0. Tells you that x can't be 2. X plus 2 not equal to 0. Tells you that x can't be equal to negative 2. So once again, 3 ways we can write this. All real numbers except negative 2 or 2. Interval notation, negative infinity to negative 2 with parentheses, union parentheses negative 2 to 2, close parentheses, union with 2 to infinity. So that's telling you all real numbers, but you're leaving out the negative 2 and the 2. And then the graph, you draw the number line. At negative 2 and 2, you'd have open circles, and then you'd shade everywhere but those values. If we wanted to find the domain of h of x equals the square root of x minus 3, so this one, square root of x, square root is an even radical. So if it's square root, fourth root, sixth root, eighth root, so on, you can't have a negative in that radical. So x minus 3 needs to be greater than or equal to 0. So if x minus 3 is greater than or equal to 0, add a 3 to both sides. You get x is greater than or equal to 3. So this will be all real numbers greater than or equal to 3. Graphically, you draw a number line. At 3, you would do a closed circle this time because we want to include the 3, and then you'd shade to the right. Interval notation, you would do a bracket and then 3 and then comma infinities and then parentheses. So this is telling you to include the 3 when you use the bracket and the closed circle in the respective notation. Now, if that radical is in the denominator, so say we've got k of x equals 2x over the square root of 4 minus 3x. Now, not only can the 4 minus 3x not be negative, but it can't be 0. So we want 4 minus 3x to be greater than 0. So subtract a 4 from both sides. You get negative 3x greater than negative 4. Remember, when you divide by a negative or multiply by a negative, it's going to flip the inequality. So you're going to get x is less than 4/3. So this one will be all real numbers less than 4/3. Graphically, you would do an open circle for 4/3 this time because you don't want to include the 4/3. And then you would shade to the left because we're doing less than. And then interval notation would be negative infinity, comma 4/3, and then you'd have parentheses for both of those because we don't want to include the 4/3. You always have parentheses when you do infinity and negative infinity. You also want to make sure that it is in the proper order. So if you put 4/3, comma negative infinity, that's not correct. You want the negative infinity to the left and then the 4/3 to the right. Pay attention on homework, how they want the answer. Now, so far, any of the other situations are going to be all real numbers. So if you had x squared minus 2x plus 3 as the function, there's no denominator you have to worry about. There's no even radical. So that would be all real numbers. If you had, instead of the square root of x minus 3 like we had in the first one up here on this page, say it was the cube root of x minus 3 or the fifth root of x minus 3 where it's an odd root. In those situations, it doesn't matter if inside the radical is negative. So those would be all real numbers. And so that's one of the things that you'll need to worry about. We'll see that as we move forward. We'll also get introduced to some other functions as we move through the summer. So that's it for functions. So hope that helps. If you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with me.